The oil world divides into consuming and producing countries. Consumer nations don't have any oil fields to produce their own oil. They often import crude oil, oil that's not refined. It's sold by the barrel. High oil prices can have a devastating impact on the economy of a consuming nation. If prices remain high for a long period, it affects the prices of goods across the economy. A general rise in prices is called inflation, and as the last report pointed out, some economies can even go into recession. That's a long period of falling economic activity. So in the year 2000, when prices stayed above $30 a barrel, oil-producing countries came under huge pressure to boost output, to increase production, to bring prices down. It was this need to have some control over worldwide output and prices that led many oil-producing nations to establish an organization or cartel in 1960.
Successful communication isn't just a question of getting the language right. It's also a question of using language that's right for the situation. And what's right for the situation will vary according to the things that people in a culture think are important. But language, our verbal communication, is only one way we have of communicating. We also communicate non-verbally. We use body language. We vary the sound of our voices to express emotions like surprise or anger. Our faces can communicate all sorts of things, as can our eyes.
The European Central Bank faces the trickiest challenge because it has acted as, in effect, the backstop to Eurozone bond markets, a mechanism that otherwise the currency bloc still lacks. But the main safety valve lies elsewhere, with banks and investors. Bitter experience has shown that debt-funded assets can magnify losses, causing financial crises. For this reason, banks must be able to withstand any reversal of today's high asset prices and low defaults. That means raising bank capital in places where it is too low, especially the Eurozone, and not backsliding on strenuous stress tests, as America's Treasury proposes. In the end, however, there may be no escape for investors from the low future returns and even losses that high asset prices imply. They and regulators should take a leaf out of The Intelligent Investor and make sure that they have a margin of safety.
Fonda et al. Recognizes three main events in the last half-century that had profound consequences for the country and its land use. First, the communist coup d'état and the following collectivization of land in the 1950s that introduced large-scale collective farming. Second, the abolition of the totalitarian political system in 1989, which was followed by the restitution of private land ownership.
The biggest problem for most undergraduate students in terms of academic writing is not only adapting to a far more structured and formal style, but also learning how to ascertain the difference between important, valid information and unnecessary or even irrelevant material. In my experience, I would say it takes students their first year, if not longer, to appreciate what is required and to start to implement those requirements in their writing. What they really should be doing, if they are struggling with written assignments, is to seek help from the excellent support services which are available at the university.
Astronomers have watched the storm spin across the giant world's face. But for planetary scientists, Jupiter's most distinctive mystery may be what's called the energy crisis of its upper atmosphere. How do temperatures average about as warm as Earth's, even though the enormous planet is more than 5 times further away from the Sun? All the Sun's giant planets display this energy crisis, and those in chilly orbits around other stars probably have it too.
The Earth is a hotter place, and it's caused by the buildup of greenhouse gases like carbon monoxide and methane. Like the glass on a greenhouse, these gases let in the sun's heat, but they stop it from getting out, so the surface of the Earth slowly becomes warmer. These gases have always existed naturally in the Earth's atmosphere, but now we're burning more and more fossil fuels. We're using more oil and coal, and wood too, as The Philippines' financial position is described as depressing. That's a very big cause of concern. The value of their currency, the peso, has hit an all-time low against the American dollar, one of the world's strongest currencies. It means the peso has never been worth so little. On the markets, it's hit an all-time low. And it's not just the currency. Serious concern about the country's financial and political future means its credit rating has been downgraded or reduced. That sends a signal to the financial community that the Philippines is an unsafe place to do business. You could lose your money.
One manifestation of globalization is the spread of similar products around the world. These include well-known brands such as Coca-Cola and Nike, and with a slogan, "One World, One Taste," the American fast food chain McDonald's. There are 30,000 restaurants in more than 120 countries, and McDonald's has become a symbol of the American way of life. But it seems that food tastes in the United States may be beginning to change. Research shows that people are eating fewer burgers and hot dogs and trying to eat healthier food.